Okay, this is lesson number 2. This is inside the pattern. So if you look inside, you'll see that there's folded tissue paper and there's also folded actual paper. So pull out the actual paper. And when you have it all unfolded, you'll find that these are all of the directions that you need to make the pants. Okay, and it starts off with the schematic drawings of each choice of the garment. So the short shorts, medium shorts, long pants, and it has a picture of all of the pieces. So this pattern doesn't have a whole lot of pieces to choose from as far as the pattern goes. So you can see, you have 1, 2, 3 different shapes only in this pattern. And for each one, it's going to be A, B, and C. Like each pattern, you're going to use the same pieces. Just below that are the cutting layout instructions. So this is for the children and teens. But if you come over here, then you have the teens, adults. So it says the A, pants. And you'll see use pieces 1 and 2. So if you look back up here, number 1, number 2. And then in the tissue paper, there's also going to be something that lists number 1 and number 2. It'll show number 1 and 2. So this shows that for a 45-inch piece of fabric, you're going to fold it long ways, so the selvage edges are going to be together. The selvage edge is the finished edge on the sides. That's the part that it won't unravel. So you'll be able to tell when you see your fabric which is the selvage edge. So this just shows that how you're going to lay out piece 1 and piece 2, near the fold but not on it. Up here in the top right, you have some of the general directions for this pattern. This goes through like important symbols on the pattern. So when I open up the tissue paper, I'm going to go over this with you. Some of the really important ones are like the grain line. So the direction of the woven threads has to go in line with this in order for the pattern to turn out right. So it's important and you'll see it down here. It also shows that line. That's the direction of the grain of the fabric. Okay. If you have something that looks like this on the pattern, then that means you're going to be cutting it on a fold. So that means you don't cut that edge, the solid edge. It's on a folded edge. So usually that's for symmetrical pieces. We're not doing that in this for this pattern. The center line is marked with a dashed line, notches. I'm sure you've seen those cut out when mom's done patterns. And that just helps you line up pieces, different pieces of the pattern more easily. Dots, same thing. Dots will mark things like where zippers go, where buttons go, darts, and you'll be transferring those to the fabric once you're done cutting. The cutting line is the dark line, and then the lengthen and shorten lines are shown this way through the middle of the pattern. Here it shows you the seam allowance is 5/8 inch or 1.5 centimeters, and that's easy to find on the sewing machine. I'll show you how to do it when we start stitching. Yes, so here this shows you how to make an adjustment. Lengthening and shortening are probably the only ones you'd really have to do on this pattern. You lengthen it by cutting through this line, and then adding a piece of paper and then adjusting, kind of estimating the lengthened area, or shorten by making a little fold. Okay, and a couple other important instructions. Before cutting, you're going to press the pieces with a warm, dry iron so the pattern doesn't have wrinkles in it. You're going to pre-shrink the fabric. So for this flannel on the one that I bought that I'm demonstrating on, I've washed it and dried it on high and hot twice, and it's shrunk about 4 to 5 inches each direction. So it's really important to pre-shrink with flannel or 100% cottons especially. Pre-shrink it so it doesn't shrink up later. And with flannel, for some reason, it just like shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. So for me, I washed it and dried it, and it shrunk about 3.5, 4 inches, and I washed it and dried it again, and it was another 1.5 inches. So I'm glad that I did it twice. Then you're going to open up the pattern. You're gonna circle the cutting layout and cut. And I usually cut mine out, and then pin the fabric in the specific cutting layout. So right here. For double thickness fabric, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to fold the fabric with right sides together. So the right sides are in and the patterns are going to be on the outside, on the wrong side. For single thickness, you'd place the fabric right side up. Okay.